I would have thought, and I gotta own it, that these tariffs were going to fucking sink this economy by this time, and they didn't. So, you know, how do we deal with
Bill Maher, long the brightest star in the liberal elite and a Trump supporter, shocked everyone. He not only opposed the left but also vehemently criticized him, defended Trump, and appended the carefully constructed narrative that progressives had been pushing for years. Do we see the rise of a man who has finally had enough of the delusions that the left has been spreading? Or does the realization that their side has turned into exactly what they once opposed signal the start of a massive liberal exodus?
people? We're saying at the beginning, oh, you know, by the 4th of July, somebody had to think how the economy was going to be tanked by then. And I was kind of like, well, that seems right to me, but that didn't happen.
This kind of honesty is almost extinct on the left. So allow me to give Maher some credit. He readily admitted that the economy under the Trump administration was not the apocalyptic scenario that CNN and MSNBC had predicted. Do you recall how those so-called experts clutched their pearls in response to Trump's tariffs? Doom and gloom and economic catastrophe were what they all called for. But when their pessimistic predictions came to nothing, did they give Trump any credit? Rather, they doubled down and shifted the goalposts. Maher called out this hypocrisy, exposing the deep rot. The media couldn't admit they were wrong because, in progressive circles, admitting that Trump accomplished anything well would be the 7th deadly sin. Bill should be commended for his bravery in exposing this forbidden truth.
What happened tomorrow? I'm just saying, that's reality. So let's work first from the reality of that, not from I just hate Donald Trump. Because that's boring and doesn't get us anywhere and leads you to dishonesty.
And here is the smoking gun. Maher is absolutely correct. The left is losing because of their addiction to dishonesty. Now, they have to twist reality to fit their narrative, and winning is no longer the primary objective. They will say without hesitation, "I told you so," even if it means they intend for America to fail under Trump. The suffering of the American working class is a side effect of their political plan. This is no longer politics, it is pathology. The issue is further made worse by their arrogant detachment from the very people they claim to represent. If Bill Maher is calling you out for being dishonest, you're a total failure. This serves as a wake-up call for the group, which has been dormant for far too long. What about the Democrats? Maher and the American people both see it. They still write fiction.
I don't know what his strategy is, but look, your shot doing nothing, not engaging, has zero chance. Mine, this guy, I'm telling you, I know this cat a lot better than I did before. He's a people person. He talks to people. You have to keep the lines open. The stupidest thing the left does, and this dinner is a perfect example of it, is having this attitude toward the right that we won't even break bread with you. We are so far above you that we won't even sit down at the same table.
Do you want to know why the left is going down? It's their arrogance. That haughty, self-centered attitude that screams, "We know better than you," turns off everyone outside of their coastal echo chambers. Maher's thesis is unmistakable. If you eliminate Trump supporters, you are virtually dismissing half of the population. But the left just does not get it. It is obedience, not unity, that they want. From the comfort of their ivory towers, Trump supporters take pleasure in being demonized. Newsflash, it makes them seem strange. These are real Americans with real families, real jobs, and real concerns, not fictional villains from a comedy. You don't win someone over by spitting on them. Maher gets it. He is fighting to maintain what little good dialogue there is left, because he knows the Democrats will soon be reduced to a relic stuffed, mounted, and on display in the Museum of Political Failure.
That is their attitude, and that makes me sick too. I'm glad I break bread, and what makes them hate the left so much. They think that they're deplorables. We're deplorables, and you won't even sit down to dinner with us. Well, good luck. See how far that gets you.
This one has a lot of impact, because Maher is talking about human experience here rather than simply politics. The person was immediately called a traitor and shunned when he even ventured to lunch with Trump. How could he speak to someone who wasn't in the hive mind of leftists? The reprisal was immediate and brutal. But instead of giving up, Maher doubled down. And for good cause. Because the left seeks conformity, not comprehension. You are either referred to be a jerk, or you are with them. The irony, this same intolerance is causing them to lose ground in the polls. Labels and speeches have worn out Americans. How about Maher? Additionally, he is tired of behaving as if being courteous is an indication of betrayal. The group he is trying to save doesn't want to be rescued, to be honest.
And let's look at their net favorable ratings. Whoa. Woof. I mean, my God. You know, we mentioned CNN. We had that poll come out a little while ago on their net favorable rating. They were 26 points underwater. You think that's low enough? How about we go even lower? We'll go to this side of the screen. I'm going to walk over here. We go to the Wall Street Journal. Minus 30 points. 30 points on.
Would you want to talk about media bias? With good cause, Maher just delivered a severe blow to the traditional press. It's as like Trump's basic mannerisms are causing earthquakes, and they stress out over everything he does. Trump's sneezes are treated as if they were biological warfare. Their lack of trust is understandable. Dramatization has taken the place of true journalism. Maher, a longtime media insider, understands how absurd things have become. The left-wing media lost the narrative years ago, and they ruined their own credibility in their rash effort to remove Trump, rather than blindly endorsing Trump. Maher is defending the truth and condemning the hyperbolic reactions that have turned the media into a global comedy.
Again, the spirit of it is something that if someone with the blue hat said it, people would nod along on the left. Yes, exactly.
There's plenty of things he says that you don't have to invent them.
Can I just say one thing? And I agree with you. All those criticisms are fair. But there's been a lot of violence, as Nancy Pelosi knows, and a lot of threats.
Let's examine the left-leaning chosen diagnosis. Trump derangement syndrome. In this terminal, Maher is given a hard dose of reality. His obsession with Trump failed in 2016, and he knows it will happen again. You cannot run a campaign motivated by hate or build a platform on pure panic. By wrecking the automobile and blaming the GPS, Maher is essentially pleading with himself to quit. It's not Trump, it's them. For every moment they spend pouting over his tweets, they miss out on actual policy, progress, or even fundamental strategy. Maher's caution is not only political, it is prophetic. The Democrats will fail if you keep doing this.
What do you make of the statement? I woke up today to the headline that Trump had called for a firing squad for Liz Cheney. And this is what I really don't like about the media. No, he didn't.
He did not.
You don't have to move me to not like Donald Trump.
He says so many shitty things. Why do you have to do that?
And by the way, if Pete don't realize it, here's what he said. He's criticizing him for being a war hawk. I mean, she is Dick Cheney's daughter. He said, she's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay. Let's see how she feels about it. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, we'll send tens of thousands of troops right into the mouth of the enemy.
Speak out for those seated in the rear. Instead of evolving, the Democratic Party is collapsing. The left is so drunk with woke that they are blind to the cliff they are racing towards. As Maher reveals, performative garbage like pronouns and bios, virtue signaling on steroids, and cancel culture, Olympics drive off real voters. Even as a lifelong lefty, Maher sees the warning signals. The American people no longer accepts the facade. They do not want rainbow flags in war regions. They want jobs, safety, and normality. But the left is too focused on congratulating themselves to see that the ground is shifting underneath them. Do not wait for the left to respond, even if Maher's comments serve as a wake-up call.
Their lowest on record. These polls have records going all the way back since the early 1990s. And when it comes to the Democratic Party's net favorable rating in both the Wall Street Journal poll and the CNN poll, the Democratic Party is breaking records in the way, Jessica Dean, you don't want to break records.
The former late-night darling, Stephen Colbert, was dismissed for the following reasons. His constant one-note obsession with Trump grew unbearable. Maher points to this as Exhibit A against the Democrats' scorched earth strategy. Colbert transformed comedy into a never-ending diatribe and alienated half of the country with his unrelenting loathing of Trump. And what do you know? After the viewers left and the ratings dropped, the network finally did the calculations. You won't have a party, you'll have a podcast with no listeners if you keep alienating people who don't agree with you, Maher said. The left has turned politics into a purity test, and those who fail are thrown out. But if you eliminate half of the country, you can't expect to win elections. Maher is trying to save them from themselves, but it could be too late.
Something really significant is happening right here, and it goes back to President Trump. When he ran for office again, he ran directly at these legacy national broadcasters, and for years people cowed down to the executives behind these companies based in Hollywood, in New York, and they just accepted that these national broadcasters could dictate how people think about topics, that they could set the narrative for the country, and President Trump fundamentally rejected it. He smashed the facade that these are gatekeepers that can determine what people think.
Maher admits that more than the wall or the tariffs, Trump's real genius was his victory in the battle against conventional media. He exposed the inequity, the phoniness, and the endless plot. Once they saw the fact, they could not ignore it. Every false headline, every unnamed source, every out-of-context soundbite created a serious lack of confidence. Trump pulled the curtain back to reveal the magician, shattering the media's fantasy. Though he disagrees with Trump's strategy, Maher understands the impact, and rightly so. Maher believes that Trump could have been correct to turn the tables in the first place.
Everything that we're seeing right now flows from that decision by President Trump, and he's winning. I mean, look, PBS has been defunded. NPR has been defunded. CBS is committing to restoring fact-based journalism. And you see it, everything from, Joy Reid is gone at MSNBC. All these things aren't isolated pinpricks. They go back to this emperor has no clothes moment where President Trump stood up to these legacy media gatekeepers, and now their business models are falling apart.
The startling realization is that mainstream media isn't really mainstream anymore. Weary of being misled, Americans are turning to independent voices like Joe Rogan. They want nuance, not predetermined plots. They want realism, not theater. Maher, a media insider himself, admits that you have mistrusted these sources, which is ironic. It's seismic. When even seasoned leftists advise against watching MSNBC and CNN, you know that things have changed. Independent media is thriving because it appreciates its audience, Maher observes. The best example of it is Rogan. Meanwhile, the Democratic infrastructure continues to use outdated talking points in a world that has changed. The information war is over. Last but not least, Maher is listening to the public. The Democratic Party has just been restrained by Bill Maher, who has been insulting conservatives for decades. In addition to condemning from the sidelines, he supported Trump, exposed the intellectual decay eating the left from within, and set fire to established media. He gave a live televised performance. This is not just a moment, it's a movement. Maher sees that the left has gone crazy, and that they will go over the edge if they don't pull back. As America awakens and the magic wears off, many who once mocked Trump are now rooting for him not because they love him, but because the alternative is so much worse. The Democrats failed, but they had a chance. They are now fleeing the ship, even their own supporters. If Bill Maher is awake, maybe it's time for us all to awaken. For more unfiltered, pure viewpoints that are not touched, liked, shared, or subscribed to by the media, neither we nor your political party matter when it comes to the truth. Be informed, courageous, and never give up on challenges.